Oh, more Russia. More Russia. Oh, where's my jingle board? Oh, come on. Here we go.
Russia, 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 Russia.
Russia, folks. There's more news. You may have thought it was over, but there's more. And where are we going to get this news? RussiaToday.com. That's right. RT. Let's carry some water guns. The headline is Foreign Spies Tried to Force Me to Take Anti-Russia Stance. Serbian Minister. A major foreign intelligence service has been pressing Serbian Interior Minister Aleksandar Vulin over his attitude towards Russia and China. The official revealed on Saturday. The minister expects a large media campaign against him to kick off next week. Quote, one of the largest intelligence services in the world, if not the largest. He's being so coy. It's so adorable. He is. One of the largest
CIA?
Intelligence services.
MI6?
I think CIA is the biggest one.
It's got to be CIA.
Yeah. One of the largest intelligence services in the world, if not the largest, told me that my stance was unacceptable and that if I do not change it and do not abandon the policy that I am pursuing, then I will not be a member of the government and they will do absolutely everything to smear me, Vulin told media outlet Pink. He expects a media campaign against him to begin next week. Despite the pressure, the minister said he refused to cooperate in any way with the foreign spies. Quote, I haven't worked and won't work for anyone except for the Serbian people, the Serbian state, and I won't be completely loyal to anyone except for the president of all Serbs, Aleksandar Vučić, the minister said. The minister also argued the country's president to keep Serbia neutral, as well as to maintain good relations with Russia and China, regardless of external pressure. Top Serbian officials have repeatedly said the country faced mounting foreign pressure amid the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Belgrade, however, has refused to join any anti-Russian sanctions or other hostile acts by the collective West, maintaining that Serbia will continue pursuing its own interests while keeping its long-standing ties with Moscow. Vulin has taken a particularly strong position amid the ongoing crisis. Earlier in July, the minister said the U.S. and the EU have been openly pressing Serbia into becoming, quote, a NATO foot soldier. In order to become,
you want to turn us into the NATO foot soldier? Sign me up.
Foot soldier. Quote, in order to become, quote, someone who wants to engage in a conflict with Russia. Quote continues, we are very clear. We will not engage in a conflict with Russia. We will not engage in other people's wars. We will not be someone else's foot soldiers, he declared back then. Sounds like we're gonna find some oil or some terrorists or something in Serbia. Serbia is gonna get spanked, unfortunately. But it's kind of a good forewarning. Keep an eye out for the Ukrainian
getting ahead of it
proxy war spilling over into Serbia. I must admit, Gons, and I'm not proud of this, I'm not exactly sure where Serbia lies in relation to everything else. I'm going to look it up real quick. Let's find out.
Are you talking about geographically or are you talking about politically?
No, geographically. Okay. Serbia is between, it's surrounded by Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. So you've got, it's on the other side of Romania and Bulgaria. What? These maps are horrible. Give me a bigger map. These maps say different things, man.
Can I pull a little audible as I know we're short on time today, and then and because the theme fits, I want to bring this article as part of an adjacent to this Russia story about
probably you don't want to spend 15 minutes on air while I Google search a good map of Serbia?
You can do that. I'm going to mention or tell our listeners about this one here. The Wall Street Journal, China targeted Fed to build informant network access data, a probe says. So while we have U.S. intelligence trying to infiltrate Serbia with spies, or at least very much in your face type of confrontation with some of the leaders there. Yeah. China has been taking over the U.S. And it says here, good. China tried to build a network of informants inside the Federal Reserve System.
Oh,
at
perfect.
At one point, threatening to imprison a Fed economist during a trip to Shanghai unless he agreed to provide non-public economic data, a congressional investigation found. The investigation by Republican staff member of the Senate's Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs found that over a decade, Fed employees were offered contracts with Chinese talent recruitment programs, which often include cash payments, and asked to provide information on the U.S. economy, interest rate changes and policies, according to a report of the findings released on Tuesday. Isn't it interesting that they did the rate hike today, and then this story pretty much hits, what is it, the day before?
Yeah, I mean, you think, do they name any names?
Kind of. They have these like code names. So they go down here. Let me see here.
So you have China, just so we're clear, the Fed being the organization that sets interest rates, etc.
Right.
And you have China actively trying to court, woo, turn, what?
Blackmail. Something.
Bribe members of the Federal Reserve. Just, it seemed like fairly benign, like, hey, we're not trying to destroy the country, we just want some info, we just want to have our ear to the door, or perhaps, have a little bit of influence or something. I can't say that I'm surprised, actually, of course.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's being reported is fun.
Yeah, Fed Chair Jerome Powell strongly disputed the report's findings and called its characterizations of some employees unfair. Quote, because we understand that some actors aim to exploit any vulnerabilities, our process controls and technology are robust and updated regularly. We respectfully reject any suggestions to the contrary. Ooh, strong words. Ooh. He wrote in a letter.
Saying Jerome Powell said that.
Jerome Powell said that to the top Republican.
Yeah.
Head of the Fed right now. Yep.
Dude.
Chinese government denies espionage.
Sorry, it kind of fits with the destruction of the administrative state. I mean, the Federal Reserve, now it's not a government agency, but it is
not federal, not a reserve.
Not a federal, not a reserve.
Yeah.
But kind of pretends to be the government. But it is another one of these sort of apparati that are used to administrate the country. Not elected, not politically accountable to anyone, just kind of does what they want.
You might like this, Basil. The Fed investigation identified 13 people of interest, dubbed
perfect.
The P Network.
The
letter P
Network?
They're called the P Network.
Oh my gosh.
13 people of interest.
So
P Network.
It is blackmail. They've all got Trump-style P tapes that they're being blackmailed with.
They were dubbed the P Network by internal investigators who were employed at 8 of the 12 regional Fed banks, the report says. The former employee of the Fed, or one of its regional banks, identified as Z, the letter Z, attempted to recruit the network's members, according to the report. I know. That person maintained ties to Chinese government-backed talent recruitment programs and, quote, expressed a desire to maintain an inside information sharing relationship, end quote, with Fed employees, the report said. The Fed investigation found that one economist in the Fed system, who was later fired for violating central bank rules, had been close to Z, the report said. Since providing its P Network findings to Congress in December 2020, I guess this is old news, the Fed now disputes many results of its inquiry. The report said the Fed raised concerns about the accuracy of its findings this month and cannot locate some of the investigative materials, the report said. We don't know what you're talking about. Well, give us the documents.
Convenient.
We don't know where they are. We don't have any documents. What are you talking about? What documents are you talking about? So there you go. I mean, just given the whole situation, it does feel like
story.
It is a huge story.
That's crazy.
It's wild. It feels like they're just getting ready to pull the plug on all kinds of infrastructure, especially if Trump comes in with his little plan.
Yeah, Schedule F.
Schedule F.
As a whole, it feels like the veil is being lifted on the entire American system, and just how fragile, corrupt, greedy, uninterested in the well-being of actual Americans. It's just it's just like a corporation that everybody else gets to, if you're high enough on the totem pole, you just kind of use it for your own personal gain and get on out of there.
Yeah, I was listening to a fairly normie gritter show, and they were talking about how these are liberal. They've been like open Democrat liberal people.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, man, we don't have a president right now. We got to, they're joking around. And they go, if anybody wants to invade now, like, I'm surprised no one's trying to invade us right now.
Totally.
Our knees are down. And they recognize it. Of course, they're not paying attention to stuff like this. Obviously, This is the kind of takeover has been going on for decades.
Yeah,
but
like
it's just interesting.
You don't need to invade. It's already invaded. Like, why spend the money to get the troops over here if you could just take it over from the inside
and take over all the infrastructure? But I thought it was a moment of critical mass, I guess.
Yeah.
When liberal Democrat people are like, hey, our president, we don't really have one. Hey, we're really vulnerable right now. Someone can take over. If they're seeing it, it's done. The job is done. So maybe the whole Trump thing becomes even more interesting in that regard, because it's like, wow, are they setting this up so that, Trump can come in and really clean house? And then we're now, it's swinging all over the place.
Then we turn into a fun Christo-fascist
theocracy.
State.
It's all planned.
Great. One last mention here before we go to break real quick.
Okay.
This is from express.co.uk headline.
Yes.
Thousands of Ukrainians signed petition to hand Boris Johnson citizenship so he can be their prime minister. Hey, there you go. Boris is on the job market. He did a great job of sending a bunch of money over to Ukraine. He's looking for a new gig. Just head on over. The Ukrainians want him. I don't know why they want him, and they're tired of Zelensky or something, but sounds like a blast. What a nice compliment, at least, that the Ukrainians can pay to Boris.
From what I understand, Ukrainian law prevents this from actually happening, but apparently it was timed well, because he, I guess, visited Ukraine and
this was a while back.
And stuff like that.
A month ago or so.
Back? Okay. Yeah. I thought this was timed to now. So
no, they're just having fun. But hey, why not? What is he up to now? He might as well go move to Ukraine.
Oh, maybe Z in the Chinese infiltration is Zelensky. Remember I did that whole Z thing?
Yeah.
The Gen Z, it's just interesting how it pops up again.
It's how the Russians are marking their tanks too, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.